What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We got another Blood Red Skies video for you today, and today we're doing another unboxing here. So our previous video we looked at the USAAF expansion, so the Army Air Force for the Americans, of course. Today we have the Imperial Japanese expansion for you, so lots of goodies to get into here. So we'll be right back after we get this open up for you and sorted out, and then we'll talk about everything inside. Be right back. Alright guys, we're back and we got everything opened up for you here, so let's take a look. Again, we get quite a few of the sort of existing cards we've probably gotten from other planes. So plenty of tight turn, great dive, deep pocket, heavy hitter, and agile. We get a couple more of our disadvantaged or negative, I shouldn't say disadvantaged, negative aircraft traits. So we've seen poor quality before and vulnerable and sluggish to an extent as well with some of the bomber things that are out there. But some of the new things that are unique to this one, at least for the time being, are our new Doctrine, Theater, and Equipment cards here. At least we haven't seen these in anything else thus far. So we have Battle Fatigue, which is pretty cool. I think we had that in the US one as well, but basically when an enemy pilot takes a maneuver test, they roll one fewer dice, so it's pretty cool. Tropical Conditions is really neat too, and there's a equipment card that can counteract that for the Japanese here. But anyway, during deployment, so all aircraft without tropical filters suffer -1 speed, real speed of -50 in this battle, so that's pretty nasty and can make for some really fun scenarios. Storm Clouds, another deployment one there. So in the scenario, planes that enter clouds become disadvantaged instead of neutral. So really changes the dynamics of a game around there. We get some new ones here as well. So on the Doctrine side, again, ram attack's pretty cool. So you get a bonus robust from that. On a friendly plane that moves into contact with an enemy plane, resolve the ram attack as a head-on shooting attack, but add speed instead of firepower. So yikes, that's pretty nasty. Then loose echelon, so during deployment again. So in elements of fighters deployed with 3 aircraft, the rearmost plane is automatically disadvantaged, or sorry, not disadvantaged, advantaged. So really neat there. On the equipment side too, so again, tropical filters to counteract the tropical conditions. So a 5-pointer, so 1941. A designated friendly squadron disregards the modifier for tropical conditions, so really giving you a nice advantage there. So as we'll see, some of the speeds here for a lot of these planes aren't necessarily above average, we'll say. So being able to either bring opposing planes down to your level or below is pretty crucial there in some cases for activations and all that. Outnumbered is nice. So if you're outnumbered by the enemy during deployment, then all friendly squadrons ignore the first boom chit scored against them, so that's pretty neat. Although with the cheapness of a lot of the Japanese planes, at least in this set here, depending on, if you're taking like a whole bunch of aces and stuff, you will probably be outnumbering the enemy, but a good thing to have nonetheless. Drop tanks also 1941 free. Also another deployment one for equipment here. So a designated friendly squadron disregards 1 boom chit gained during deployment, but you reduce their miles per hour by 20 on turn 1. And then let's get into some of the other exciting stuff here. So the actual planes. Some of these do have models and some of these don't yet, I think. We do need some more releases for the Japanese coming out at some point. So I'll start off with the Toryu, so our twin engine fighter here. So firepower of 2. Maneuverability of 1, speed 7. Let's see if we can get this to focus better here. So real speed of 336 there. So it does have heavy hitter, turret, firepower 1 towards the rear, multi-engine 2, and agile, which is always nice. So really neat history about that too. And then 47 points a pop, so not too bad. We get a 0 model here, so the A6M2. So single engine, firepower of just 1, but starting off with maneuverability 3 is pretty damn cool. Real speed of only 7, but again, this is more of an early to mid-war one. 331 in real miles per hour, but tight turn, deep pockets, and vulnerable. But again, vulnerable, as we've seen and discussed in a couple other videos too, if you, again, master these kind of planes, and really, again, like the 0 in particular here, and you're the right kind of aggressive with these things, if the enemy can't shoot you, then you're vulnerable. Doesn't really matter, right? And so yeah, 1940s version of the 0, so very early war, but 31 points a pop for these. Then we bring in the KI, I think think that's supposed to be KI. 61 Hien, another single engine fighter, so very similar in some respects to the 0137 on the stats. A little bit faster at 348, but only has great dive as a trait. And we say only, but that's still pretty cool. But this one's a little bit later on, so 1942, 29 points a pop there. So another fun one to incorporate. Nice to have a Japanese plane that doesn't have vulnerable. Speaking of vulnerable, so the Ki-43 Hayabusa, another interesting one here. So again, don't always let the sort of stats on paper here deter you from trying out different planes. So, but 1, 3, and it's a little bit slower at speed 6, only 320 real speed, but tight. Another one with tight turn, but it is vulnerable. But again, we've just talked about what we can do to mitigate that. 1941, but also significantly cheap, 23 points there. Another fun one to incorporate. Then if we are playing some of the bombing missions and stuff like that, so definitely worth checking out. So the D3A Type 99 Val, so a single engine bomber, so basically just the turret really for firepower in the rear, but again, depending on your pilot skill, you can manage some things there. Maneuverability 2 for that's pretty decent, and then 5 on the speed there, so of course slow. But anyway, dive bomber, turret, and vulnerable. So vulnerable is probably going to be an issue more on these dive bombers here, but missions will determine all that too. So, but really cool history on that. And then finally we end up with another bomber here. So this is the G4M Betty twin engine bomber. So currently don't have a model for that, but I imagine again, whenever the new Pacific starter comes out down the road and sort of revamps Blood Red Skies a bit, hopefully we will get some of these other models. But 360 turrets, no maneuverability, real speed of 6 though, 292. So bomber, multi-engine 2, vulnerable, which kind of sucks unfortunately for these big planes. But turret, and then 360 firepower 1, and rear firepower +1. And again, no points on these things because they're scenario based, but really good history on that too. So again, another fun set to pick up, well worth considering. So whatever faction you're playing, certainly worth investing in these expansion sets, if for nothing else than just some new variants of your planes, and bringing you some stats for bombers and things that you can run for a lot of the scenarios in the expansion and all that. But again, it's always nice to have some new equipment, doctrine, and theater cards, and just extras of the existing cards as well. So, definitely like this. We're going to work on getting our Japanese forces that we do have so far, which right now is mainly just some zeros, with our ace Saburo Sakai. We're going to get all that painted up for you guys here real quick, and then hopefully get some battle reports out for you. And definitely excited to try and get through some of the scenarios as well and present those to you guys, and then offer some thoughts and stuff on those. But let us know in the comments, guys, if you play the Japanese for Blood Red Skies and you've picked this up, what are your thoughts? What all have you tried out from the expansion? What do you think works well or doesn't? How have you sort of gone about dealing with the strengths of the Japanese, but then also trying to avoid or mitigate their weaknesses, which are very real. But I think there are some ways around that if you have the right kind of mentality and skills as a pilot to work on that. Leave us with a like and subscribe too if you haven't already, guys. Again, we really do appreciate everybody stopping by. And if you do want to support the channel a little bit more, check out the link in the description there. That'll take you over to Warlord. Anything you pick up comes and supports the channel a little bit more. Again, we really appreciate everyone who does that. And in the meantime, stay tuned for more Blood Red Skies content coming soon. Thanks so much for stopping by again. Have a good one.